I'm not sure what definition of special means. But the consequences of being the special one was that I was born in Oluyole, Ibadan. And when they asked my father for the name so they could put it on the birth certificate, he chested and said, "It's Adetokunbo. We brought him from abroad." So I know many of you have Tokumbos, right? But this one is probably the first one that you know that has only one passport. And so I grew up really feeling cheated all my life. My sister is there with her Canadian passport, her son. I just felt cheated. And one of the things I said I was going to do was regardless of the fact of what kind of hand I was served, I was going to make sure that I worked hard enough to make sure that even if I don't get passport, I must have all the visas in the world. And that was my motivation, guys. And I kind of like did quite okay. I got my American visa, I got a 10-year UK visa, I got a 5-year Canadian visa, and still I wasn't treated better every time I tried to travel because of the color of my passport. One particular story that I need to share with you that really challenged my life and got me thinking was a few years ago. I was invited to come and speak at a really major leadership conference in the United States. And by this time, doing very well, leading, having literally created an industry called, public speaking in Nigeria. People started saying, I want to be a public speaker like Fela Durotoye. I want to, all of that stuff. But here I was going, and everywhere you go, people are saluting you, greeting you. Yeah, I know you. I saw you on TV, and those kind of things. People in Nigeria think you're a star just because you're on TV. And so here I was, coming out of my hero. And then I got to Gatwick, trying to connect to the United States, and I was flying upper class. So we had priority boarding. And I noticed on the queue, just not a long queue, just a short queue, these two incredible, beautiful couple. There was an older gentleman who looked about 70, maybe 70, just a little bit over 70, but absolutely distinguished, like Mr. Shobanjo. When you see him, you know that he's a distinguished man. And his beautiful wife was also with him, this gentleman, white hair, beautiful white hair. And when they approached the lady who was supposed to do nothing but just collect their boarding pass, scan it, and say, have a nice flight, for whatever the reason was, I noticed that she asked them to please step aside. And then she passed a few more people, and then it got to my turn. And here I was, having been admiring this couple, saying this is what I want to be like when I grow up. And then she saw me, and the moment she saw she didn't even bother, she just collected my passport and asked me to step aside. Now I knew what I had in common with these other guys, right? Kind of like passed all the other people behind me, not a long queue, it's priority boarding. And then she took the passport of the lady, and she brought something out of her jacket and started to scan the passport. When she was done, she handed the passport over to the lady, took the gentleman's passport, scanned it, handed it over, and they were, I told you, distinguished, good people. They said, thank you. And then she did the same, and unfortunately, I still have work to be done on me. So I crossed my hand. And she said, your passport, sir. And I crossed my hand and I said, you have to tell me what you were doing. She said, oh, I'm sorry, I was just doing my job. I said, what is your job? She said, I was just checking for the validity of your visa. I said, well, you have to help me here. Number one, this visa has been used, even though it's a 2-year visa, this was my 5th trip within 2 years. So I'm a frequent flyer. I don't know what your glass can do that the US immigration cannot do with a passport. I'm not sure, but that's the first thing. The second thing is, I am an executive club member. I am flying upper class. Why would you do this? And she said to me, I mean no harm, sir. I'm just doing my job. You don't know what we see here with Nigerians. And more importantly, they've told us about you people. You see, when she said that, I took my passport humbly, got onto the plane, and I wrote the following things down. I hope that they might be something you might use someday. The first thing I said as I wrote down was, ordinary citizens of a great nation will forever be treated better than successful citizens of a failed country. The second thing that I said was that individual success in the midst of collective failure will always be despised. I later came back and put those things on social media and it went viral. But I think it went viral not because it was me that put it up. It was just because it was the truth. And it was a call to most people's conscience to recognize that you are not really ever judged by how great you have become. There is a national identity that is tied to you. And it's like a cover that before people see you, they see that identity. And so whether that identity is for good or for bad, it's the covering you have. Not only is that identity at the cover, it's also at the heart. In between the heart and the cover is all the success you want to get. But if your nation is a failed nation, you've got the heart of pain. And then you've got the covering of failure, covering all of that success. And it occurred to me that it was not enough that I could begin to pursue or continue to pursue my success. I needed to start to pursue Nigeria's success. And that was the journey that took me to become a nation builder.
NABN TV, inspiring a new generation.